Ready? Isabella asked softly. I released a slow breath. Open it. Without hesitation, she slid a master key card through the lock. Clearly, she had planned every step of this confrontation. The handle clicked, and the door eased open. The moment we stepped inside, the scent hit me. Champagne mixed with cheap perfume. Clothes were strewn carelessly across the floor, leading a trail toward the bedroom where muffled laughter spilled into the air. Isabella's face remained stone still as she strode ahead with purpose. I kept pace behind her, pulse calm and controlled. We reached the doorway just in time to hear Emily's voice between giggles. We barely made it past the lobby before. Then she saw us. Her grin died instantly. She yanked the sheets up to her chest as if fabric alone could save her dignity. Her boss scrambled off the bed, tripping over discarded clothing. Emily's voice cracked. W, what are you doing here? I didn't yell. I didn't fling accusations. I just stared, cool and emotionless. Conference must be really popular today, I said. Isabella folded her arms, tone dripping with mock sweetness. Team bonding, I assume? Silence crushed the room. Emily reached toward me, panic finally taking hold. It's not what you think. A laugh escaped me before she could finish. Emily, it's exactly what it looks like. Her boss looked sick, pale, trembling. He opened his mouth, but Isabella cut him down with a glare, so icy he froze where he stood. This is the last time you humiliate me, she said sharply. Then she glanced at me. Shall we? I gave a small nod, still not sure where this was headed. She lifted her phone and pressed play. Voices, dates, hotel receipts, explicit messages. Every secret whisper between them, recorded and archived. The color drained from Emily's face. H, how did you? Isabella smiled like a cat who'd already eaten the canary. Sweetheart, did you really think you were the only one capable of spying? Emily stared at me, hoping for forgiveness or a dramatic emotional breakdown. Instead, I raised my phone, snapped a clear picture of the two cheaters tangled in sheets, and said, Perfect. That's all the evidence I needed. Tears flooded down Emily's cheeks, loud, theatrical sobbing. Her boss begged Isabella not to wreck his life. She rolled her eyes. Oh, trust me, that damage is already complete. I stepped aside, watching as Isabella transitioned into full execution mode, laying out her demands like a CEO finalizing a hostile takeover. Full alimony, the house, a cut of his company, everything documented and ready for signatures. It wasn't revenge. It was a business victory. Meanwhile, Emily clung at my sleeve. We can fix this. We can talk. Please, this doesn't have to end. I cut her off. It ended weeks ago. Today is just a proof. She sobbed harder, reaching again. I stepped back, voice cold as steel. Don't touch me. That sentence crushed her more than any shouting ever could. She fell to her knees, clutching the sheets like they might hold her together. I turned toward the exit. Expect divorce papers by tomorrow. Her breath hitched, a pathetic whisper chasing after me. Please don't go. I looked back once, just once, and shook my head. Isabella and I walked out together, leaving the wreckage of our former life behind. Outside, the sky burned with orange and crimson streaks as the sun lowered. So what happens now? I asked. A calm, victorious smile touched her lips. We rebuild. Separately, yes, but without fools dragging us down. She handed me her business card. Call if you need help with the legal process, or if you just need someone who truly gets it. I slipped the card into my pocket. When we parted, I didn't feel heartbreak or rage, only release. The truth was brutal, but it set me free. That night, my phone exploded with notifications, apologies, threats, long messages filled with excuses. I ignored all of them. Eventually, I blocked her number. I poured myself a drink, sank into the couch, and felt a rare, contented silence settle over me. Good riddance. And thank you, Isabella. That morning, when my wife Emily casually tossed her suitcase into the trunk and announced she was traveling to another city for yet another business conference, I didn't even blink. It was the 7th trip like that this month. At this point, She wasn't even trying to make the lies creative. She pressed a quick kiss to my cheek, more like she was checking off a task, then pulled out of the driveway without a single backward glance. I didn't chase after her. I didn't question a thing. I simply stood there, hands buried in my pockets, watching her car disappear. Inside, the truth had already settled into place like a completed puzzle. We both knew this trip had nothing to do with work. The secretive texts, the sudden locked passwords, the unfamiliar perfume that was definitely not for my benefit. All the signs pointed in one direction. But I wasn't going to explode or beg for honesty. I was done playing the oblivious spouse. I was waiting, and I had the feeling the moment I needed was just around the corner. Only 10 minutes later, as I poured myself a mug of coffee in the kitchen, the front door swung open without a knock. I turned, expecting some delivery, but instead it was Isabella, my wife's boss's wife, striding into the house like she owned the place. She was a striking woman, tall, poised, with a confidence sharp enough to cut. Her expression was calm, but her eyes held the look of someone who already knew the final chapter of a story I had only just begun to read. "You don't lock your door?" she asked, one brow raised. I set my coffee down slowly. Didn't think I'd have a visitor this morning. Her heels tapped smartly against the floor as she moved closer, and I could sense a storm carefully contained behind her polished demeanor. "I know exactly where they are," she said, each word measured. Then she reached out, dragging one finger deliberately down front of my shirt, and whispered, "Come with me. It's time they learn the consequences." My heartbeat didn't surge from fear. It was something much darker, much more dangerous. I should have demanded explanations, asked for evidence, behaved like the rational husband people expect. Instead, I grabbed my jacket and followed her without hesitation. Maybe I wanted the truth laid bare. Or maybe I wanted to see just how deep this betrayal had gone. Isabella's lips curved into a slow, satisfied smile. "Good. You're sharper than I imagined." On the drive, she laid everything out. Her husband, Emily's boss, had been unfaithful for months, and she had tracked every fake conference, every rented hotel suite, every lie exchanged in whispers and secrecy. There was nothing frantic or emotional about her tone. She spoke like a surgeon describing an operation. "If they want to play games," she murmured, her voice chillingly steady, "then we'll show them how experts handle the final round." I stayed quiet, absorbing each detail as if it were a blow. While the road stretched out ahead of us, one thing became glaringly clear. Isabella wasn't interested in closure. She craved justice, but even more, she wanted vengeance. And she fully intended for me to be part of it. An hour later, we pulled into the parking lot of a luxury boutique hotel, one Emily insisted she could never afford. Isabella marched through the lobby with the entitlement of royalty. "Suite 9004, she said with a sly glance toward the elevator. "They always choose a view." My stomach twisted, not from heartbreak, but anticipation. I had imagined finding out one day, but this felt like I was stepping into a movie. Inside the elevator, Isabella leaned back against the wall, arms folded. "You don't look shocked," she observed. "You can't live beside someone for years without noticing when their love moves out," I replied with a shrug. She gave a tiny smirk. Impressive composure. "I've spent too long pretending everything was fine." The elevator chimed. We stepped out into a silent, carpeted hallway. Only one door displayed a "Do Not Disturb" sign, a single warning hanging from a handle. "Suite 9004. Isabella turned to me, eyes cold and determined.